Awesome. So I know we're getting a late start, but I just want to start off by thanking everyone for making time to attend this lunch and learn. I'm really excited to share this information with all of you and kick this off and hopefully help our social media engagement. So with that, I'll introduce myself. My name is Ben Best. I am the Assistant Director of Communications at the KU Foundation. And I'm also an alum of KU, so I graduated in 2018 with a degree in communication studies. Um, so that's just some of my background. And now I will take you through the presentation. So this is our social media guide and training. You'll be able to find this guide and training along with the recording of this training and some other important documents at www.kuf.org/social-media. And we will send that link out to everyone at the end of the meeting once we have the recording. So with that, I will get started. So just a rundown of what we're going to go over. I'll go over an intro of our social media and some of the key strategies that we use with our social media and kind of give you guys some insight into what will help boost our engagement and the most efficient way to do that. I also have benchmark statistics or metrics of our social media from the last couple years. We'll go over the different forms of engagement and why they're important, a quick view of our social media policy, branding guide for the university and the foundation. The foundation actually just released a new branding guide, which will also be shared with all of you. Some of the best ways to help, a pilot program for digital ambassadors that will be launching soon. Just some information on contests. I know different organizations on campus have had interest in contests, so I just want to kind of define the parameters for contests and what we are able to do. Kind of some examples of successful posts, what's kind of worked with our audience, and then what to keep in mind for the future when representing KU and the KU Foundation on social media. So with that, let's break it down to the basics. Social media. So what is it? Social media is a space that allows an open dialogue between you and your audience. So social media started over a decade ago. It's kind of always been around, but it's really been important in connecting people. Like it says, an open dialogue between you and your audience. So people can speak peer-to-peer, but also giving an organization the ability to develop its own voice and interact with its audience is also just as important and can be just as powerful as word of mouth. So some of the key strategies for social media, they're going to be different forms of engagement. So some simple forms of engagement are things like and share, even commenting. Sometimes you'll see like YouTube videos or posts on like Facebook or Instagram where people will say like and share. You could get some type of incentive, but those basic forms of engagement are what really drive success on social media. So liking a post, sharing a post, think like every time you're liking a post, you're giving someone one positive point that can help them move their post up in an algorithm or on a timeline. But then there's some other things like listen, ask, respond, and reward. So listen is kind of keeping your ear to the ground. It's looking for opportunities to engage. So we have things like a Trivia Tuesday or Scenic Sunday that happen regularly on our Instagram. Scenic Sundays, sometimes I'll ask people, where was your favorite spot to like study on campus or just relax and unwind? And people will respond with their favorite place was the library basement or sitting under the cherry blossom trees, things like that. And those could be good opportunities for our other people in our audience, members of the digital KU community, where you can say like, hey, that was one of my favorite spots on campus too. What year were you here? Something like that, looking for opportunities to build a connection and engage with peers in our audience. Another is going to be ask. So like I said, when you're connecting with people in comments, make sure to ask them questions. Every time someone in our audience is commenting on our post, again, that will help boost our engagement. And the more comments there are, the more of an audience will see it, because there will be more engagement on a post. So the more engagement there is, the more likely it is that that post will be shared with more of an audience, kind of like a spider web network or something. Once you get one point, it'll connect to another and it'll just keep growing. So then there's also respond. Again, that's just looking for different opportunities. So whether it's responding to our post or responding to a comment, and then reward. So some type of incentive. We've hosted contests in the past. We've hosted other incentives like Mask Up. So there's always a variety of ways for us to drive engagement digitally. A quick note just before I go to the next slide. If you do have any questions, feel free. I believe you should have the ability to comment. I have two members of staff kind of going through and looking at the chat to see what comments are coming through. And then at the end of this training, we will go through and answer anything. So if there's anything I miss, please feel free to ask away. And at the end of the training, we will get to that. And again, this will be recorded. So if you do have to leave early or something, this will be posted online so that if I can't answer your question while you're here, it can be answered later. All right, now on to the next slide. So this is to benchmark our social media. Again, I graduated in 2018 and then I started working at the foundation a few weeks later. So I benchmarked this from when I started to where it is now. So as you can see for Facebook, when I started, we were around 4,500 and now we are creeping up to 6,900. We're at 6,832 right now. Similar with Instagram. Instagram has grown a lot. It's been a great source of engagement. If you look at our Instagram stories, every Tuesday I host Trivia Tuesday. I'll ask different facts and trivia about KU. And I've seen our engagement go up anywhere from 1,000 to 2,000% in a week just from a simple question in our story where people can tap an answer, and whether they get it right or wrong, we're still building some form of engagement for that. And I think that's why our Instagram has been able to grow the way it has, just because there's so many opportunities for engagement on there, especially with a tool like Stories. You'll also see our LinkedIn. So I know we have a private network for alumni, but then we also have our public page where you can follow for updates. That page was started when I first started working here, and it's grown close. It'll be, I'm hoping to get 600 soon. And unfortunately with Twitter has had some updates in the past that made it unable for me to pull the data from 2018. But currently we have the largest following on Twitter, but it's also the platform where we receive some of the least engagement. So social media, somewhat a science, but things don't always work the way you would expect. And even though we do have a large following on Twitter compared to something like Instagram or LinkedIn, sometimes the engagement just isn't there. Our audience really seems to be mostly on Facebook and Instagram, but these LinkedIn and Twitter are still very powerful platforms to have a voice on. So let's get into the importance of engagement. Engagement helps build brand trust and loyalty. Increasing engagement helps build affinity, and that helps us reach new members of the KU community. So again, engagement is going to help us overall, and then brand trust is also going to be important. We'll get into that down the line in this presentation. But the more we're engaging with our community, the more we're going to see it grow. So breaking down different forms, you have communications engagement. So this is an interactive, meaningful, and informative communications. So to give you an example, every February, I have run a KU Sweethearts campaign, and that is to give KU couples the opportunity to share their love story. So whether it was two KU students that met in class or met on the DMZ or just anywhere in Kutztown to this KU Sweethearts campaign gave us the ability to engage with our audience, gave them an opportunity to talk about their loved ones, share their stories. And then it also helped us because we were able to find out things about our audience that we never knew before. We discovered that some people were married that we had no clue they were married, or that they were in a relationship. And we were able to connect couples on our end, and it just helped us with our information. So just asking a simple question like, did you meet your spouse or your significant other at Kutztown, has helped us tremendously. And I'll show metrics for KU Sweethearts later in the presentation, but just kind of a general quick asking a question, that communication engagement can be very, very powerful. Next is going to be experiential engagement. So experiences that inspire, promote, celebrate, and strengthen the KU Foundation. So something like this would be homecoming on online, even in person. But if we take it back to last year, we hosted a digital homecoming. And I've never experienced something like that before. I don't know how many other people have, but I still thought it was really, really cool that we had the ability to go online and experience a semblance of homecoming, even if we couldn't be in person. And then to have something this year where we could have alumni speaker panels, the different tents like the petting zoos on campus, just so many opportunities where we could share experiences on KU's campus and then put it online for our audience to see, really helped engagement. Philanthropic engagement. So these are opportunities to make philanthropic investments that are meaningful to the donor. So this, I would say, 1866 challenge. Again, this past year, we had a wildly successful 1866 challenge. It seems like the momentum just keeps growing for it every single year. And I think social media really helped push it this year. I think it does every year. But this year specifically, we provided trainings to our participants to really help activate them and give them the motivation and the instructions to properly execute their own social media campaigns for the 1866 challenge. So there was an overall branding and an overall message, but then with each sub campaign, we gave people direction to really target their own individual audiences, because for the foundation, our audience is the KU community. So whether it's alumni, donors, faculty, staff, students, anyone in the KU community, when we're getting into sub campaigns, so say field hockey, their audience is going to be current field hockey players and alumni that also played field hockey, and they would have a better grasp at how to message to their audience than we would. And giving them the instructions to really do that, as you can see from this past campaign, it helped tremendously. Just looking at the numbers and how quickly we were able to reach our goal, smash our extended goal. I really think giving people the power to use their voice was what helped with that. And then volunteer engagement. So volunteer opportunities that are endorsed and valued by the KU Foundation. So a great example of this would be the postcard campaign. I'm sure some of you have seen, we've had multiple postcard campaigns over the past 2 years, and that has given alumni the ability to connect directly with current students or new alumni, welcoming them into the KU community as an alum and not just a student. This postcard campaign has given people an ability to connect and engage directly, and that's been very powerful as well. So now we're going to talk about just a brief overview of our social media policy. So the purpose of our social media policy is to encourage the responsible use of social media and set out what we expect from our volunteers when using social media. It's important to remember that we're all ambassadors for the Golden Bear community and KU, and that social media is public. So if you do want to see a more detailed view of our social media policy, I mentioned this link at the beginning, but I also included it in here for all of you. So www.kuf.org/social media, social-media. You can use this link and it'll take you directly to a page that has a PDF for our social media policy. But to go over just some key points and takeaways from the social media policy that we have implemented, we want to give clear guidelines on what you can share about the organization. So it's really, really important. And this is kind of going back to brand trust with engagement. It's important that we think strategically about how we put information out into the world. I know sometimes with like events and things like that, it can get really, really exciting, but we want to make sure that we have everything in order first. So events, initiatives, dates, and everything. We want to make sure that we're not jumping the gun and then having to change things last minute, because when we have to change the information that we're putting out there, that in turn will then kind of damage our brand trust. So we want to make sure whatever we are putting out, any information, is correct the first time so that we maintain that trust with our audience. Then comply with the legislation and protect you as a volunteer. So of course, there's going to be protections for the organization and each individual volunteer. Help you draw a line between your private lives and your volunteer work. Just an overview of what the tasks and responsibilities are of volunteers that are actively volunteering for our social media. Protect the organization against liabilities for the actions of volunteers. And then be clear about sensitive issues, such as monitoring, and explain how problems with inappropriate use will be addressed. So we haven't really had any big issues, but just to set the parameters, we want to make sure, just because once something's on social media, it really is there forever. Even if you delete it, there's still ways to get deleted posts back. So when it does come to sensitive issues or inappropriate content, again, we have defined parameters in the complete social media policy, as well as how it will be addressed on a case-by-case basis. So if you are interested, I would encourage everyone to take a look at the social media policy. We referenced more than 4 or 5 other universities with social media policies to really make sure that we were covering all the bases for our volunteers and the organization as a whole. So to go along with our social media policy is our branding guide. So a part of building brand trust is staying consistent in the voice we use. So how we speak, how we post, the way we interact with our audience. Branding is important because it makes a memorable impression and allows our audience to know what to expect from the KU Foundation. So as you know, KU's colors are maroon and gold. So we wouldn't want to use like a green or a pink or something like that to convey a message from the Kutztown University Foundation. What I keep in mind when I'm creating posts are, I want someone to know that a post is coming from the foundation before they even read what the message is. So I want the branding to be as clear as possible to really set the tone for the message that our audience is about to receive. So some ways besides just colors that we can ensure that our brand stays consistent are using things like branded hashtags. So you've heard "Good to be golden" before. We have our capital campaign slogan, so "Together we're golden." There's also KU alumni and Kutztown alumni. These are great branded hashtags that we keep track of. It's a great way to engage. and it's a great way to tag us and give us an ability to share out your content if you are engaging with KU in some way, sharing content, or you just want to help us with engagement. There's also branded keywords. These are pretty self-explanatory, but things like Kutztown University Foundation, KU Foundation, Kutztown, Golden, these are words that we are really focusing on right now, especially with our capital campaign going on, Golden. We are keeping track of these to see if there are people talking about it, what they're saying, how they're reacting to the stories that we're sharing. And then we have branding guides. So we have the official Kutztown University branding guide that you can access from this PDF. And then we have the new KU Foundation branding guide that you can also access. I don't want to jump between too many screens right now, but this PDF will be available on the social media link as well. So if you are interested in learning more about KU and the KU Foundation, how we brand, the logos we use, and how you can help with that, I highly encourage you check out these branding guides. I've found them very helpful in staying consistent with the imagery and voice that I've used online. So to break it down, here are some of the best ways to help with our engagement. So as a volunteer, these are the opportunities you want to look for. So engage our audience. The best way to help social media, to help our social media grow is to be an engaging member of our online community. So the best way to have a thriving community is just to start with that. So engage, be an active member, and eventually it'll pick up momentum. Having things like Scenic Sunday or Trivia Tuesday, getting people to interact has really helped start that momentum. But it will plateau eventually, and it's one of those things we'll have to come up with new strategies, new initiatives to keep the ball rolling, because initiatives can only take us so far. They can stay consistent, but we want to make sure that we keep growing. So while browsing social media, make sure to like, share, and comment on posts from the KU Foundation. To make an even bigger impact, engage with other members online and tag your friends to help ignite a conversation. I'm sure, like everyone else here, I've made some great friends while I was at KU. I still talk to 3 of my friends from college almost every single day, or at least a few times a week. And when I see something online related to Kutztown, I make sure to share it with them. With the 1866 challenge, I started a huge group chat and I just put all of my friends in it. And I let them know, hey, this is the initiative that's going on. Even if you can only give $5, or even if you can't give, if you could just share it out with your network, that would help so much. And simple things like that can be a very powerful tool to help drive our engagement, our giving. There's so many ways that you can impact our engagement and what we track just with a simple share or letting people in your own network know what's happening. So something else that I mentioned is the Digital Ambassadors Program. So the purpose of the Digital Ambassadors Program is to create a long-lasting, positive, interactive, and thriving community online with our Golden Bears. So the general task of these digital ambassadors is to monitor the social media and engage with posts, starting out around 1 a week, but there'll also be campaign tasks. So push campaigns on social to reach a wider unengaged audience. Social media, I said it before, is really like a spider web. When you hit one point, it'll connect to another and just keep growing out. The more people are sharing out with their network and engaging other people, the more our KU community can grow. Because at the end of the day, to be a member of the KU community, you don't necessarily have to be an alumni or a current student. You could be a family member of an alum or a current student, or even just a friend. As long as you're willing to engage with KU and the KU Foundation and help engage and make a difference, you would be in that KU community. So this Digital Ambassador program is a pilot program that will be launching soon. And the purpose of it is to get a small group of people and really get them to be representatives of our community. If you've joined other Facebook pages in the past, I'm sure you've seen they have different community moderators that look over the page. They'll review posts. They'll make sure that what's on the page is appropriate. For one single person to monitor 4 or 5 different social media platforms, it can be a lot. So to break this down, it's kind of giving some of those simpler tasks like responding and engaging to representatives. So we want to start with a small pilot program, about 4 or 5 members, and there'll be general like week-to-week tasks where it'll be sharing a post or posting something of your own and using a tag and a hashtag to help spread the awareness from your own account and using your own voice. And this is also being called like a micro influencer program. Everyone knows about influencers online, but a micro influencer could be anyone. In the past, word of mouth was one of the best ways for public relations to get a message out there. People are more likely to trust their friends and their friends' opinions. So using a micro influencer program, we can get down on that level and activate our own audience and use them as a tool for that word of mouth initiative, where you can directly share things out with your own friends and help get them engaged with KU and everything that we're putting out there. So another great way to get engagement is through contests. So contests can be really, really powerful to increase engagement, but social media platforms are also very strict about contests. While it may seem that targeting multiple forms of engagement when hosting a contest will work, it's more beneficial to focus on specific forms of engagement with contests tailored to complement that. So to start with the strict guidelines, it's very easy for a contest to flip into what would be considered gambling. The information that people have, so their own personal information, we have to be careful with what we're asking and what we're asking them to do. Facebook is not afraid to restrict pages that are using unethical forms of engagement or contests where we're actively forcing people to engage. We can encourage people, but we can't force, we can't ask them to give us sensitive information or anything like that. So it's important to remember when creating a contest what we're asking people to do. And then tailoring your goal to fit a contest. So I know Facebook, for example, you have likes, you have on a page, you also have following on a page, but then there's also likes on a post and comments and shares on a post. So it might seem simple to say, like this post, like this page, and comment, and you can be entered to win something. However, the likelihood of someone going through all those steps just to enter are very low. So if we encourage a person to just like the page and nothing else, and they could be entered to win something, there's that. If it's just liking a post or commenting, sharing your views about something, again, we want to keep it to just one action, because the more actions we add, the less likely we are to get people participating in a contest. And then just because there are so many rules and regulations from different social media platforms regarding contests, it's important that contests be reviewed by the KU Foundation's communications team so that we can make sure that any contest that's going online won't get us in any hot water. Volunteers can establish concepts and themes, but the KU Foundation communication team will define entry and participation rules. So again, if an organization wants to start an initiative to complement an event that's going to be happening on campus or something like that, we encourage that. We would love to hear from the members of our KU community what ways they want to engage. So when it comes to concepts and themes, we want that, but defining entry and participation rules, again, when we're asking people to like a page or like a post, that's where things can get more technical. So we want to keep that responsibility on the communication team so that we can ensure everything runs smoothly. But I also have this infographic here. So as you can see, over 57% of surveyed page admins have created Facebook contests on their page. So that's over half the time a page has hosted at least one contest to help with their engagement. Did the contest help you meet your goals? So almost 83% of people said yes. So it definitely is a powerful way to increase engagement. But then when you get into what was the goal of your contest? So increase fans' likes, increase loyalty, collect data, other. So 28.7% average increase in likes after creating a Facebook page contest. So again, that's a nice bump. That's a great increase, but it happened because the people that are doing this are focusing on one thing at a time. So increase the likes on a page or increase loyalty, in collecting data and other. Most of the time, our contests are going to revolve around just increasing engagement, but it's going to be what form of engagement that is. So whether it's liking a post or commenting on a post, those are the form of engagement that are normally the safest for a contest. But contests, again, will be reviewed on a case-by-case basis. So successful posts and social media campaigns. In the past, we ran Fun Fact Friday. So this was similar to Trivia Tuesday, but it didn't have the same activation. So as you can see, it reached almost 6,000 people. It had 228 plus our page likes or loves, and then 15 comments and 29 shares. So just a simple photo of what KU looked like in the late 1920s and a brief caption of what that photo was. Especially with KU, I found that people or alumni, students from KU love hearing about the history of KU. So this Fun Fact Friday was a great way to kind of display that history and find some engagement. Here is the KU Sweethearts campaign. So calling all KU Sweethearts, the Kutztown University Foundation is looking for KU couples to profile for February. When we want to hear how your love story came to be. Sound off in the comments. So this, these numbers right here where it says like 75 people reached, 596 engagement, those aren't exactly accurate because as you can see down here, there was 152 people that liked or loved the post, but then we got 399 comments and 42 shares. So I actually think the post got so much engagement that it just didn't track. It wasn't able to. And that'll happen with outlier posts sometimes if a post is an outlier and just goes so beyond your regular metrics. Facebook or Instagram will kind of shelve that post as an outlier just so that it doesn't affect overall data. But just that simple post where we're asking people to share their story about meeting their significant other, we were able to engage with almost 400 people in the span of a week. We received comments and we were able to gain so much valuable information on our audience. And then we were also able to give them an opportunity to share their own story and give them a little bit of the spotlight. So something like this KU Sweetheart story has been a very successful campaign that we run annually. And it's going to be coming up again at the beginning of February. So keep an eye out for that if you want to interact with it. And then one of the last posts that I'll share, I mentioned Scenic Sunday. This was kind of the prototype to Scenic Sunday. But KU has a really beautiful campus. We have a Green Star Award for campus beautification. And I, as a student, always thought our campus was so, so pretty. It's one of the reasons I chose to go to KU was because of how beautiful the campus was. So I thought it would be a great idea to share different scenes. Our Golden Bears know KU is gorgeous, and no matter the season, we've even received a Green Star Award, like I said. Check out some of the shots our KU photographers have captured and let us know your favorite spot on campus in the comments below. So again, just asking people, getting them to reminisce about their time at KU, how beautiful the campus was, things like that are very powerful and very helpful in engaging our audience. As you can see down here, 7,400 people reached, 1,500 forms of engagement, 206 likes, 17 comments, and 57 shares. Again, a very successful post, and all we were doing was sharing photos of the campus. So it really can be super, super simple when it comes to the types of posts that we're using to drive engagement. So the last part is what to keep in mind when posting. So when posting online, remember you're a representative of KU and the KU Foundation in the terms of when you're volunteering for us and putting out information and sharing for us, or commenting on our posts and commenting on our page. Just keep in mind that you're a representative of KU in some capacity when you're doing that. Be mindful of confidential information when posting and answering questions. So again, especially with everything going on in the world right now, dates are always changing, times are changing, locations are changing. So we want to be mindful of that before we start putting information out into our audience, because once information's out there, whether it's right or not, it's out there. So we need to be careful about how we answer questions and the information that we give out. Branding standards are critical in maintaining brand trust and loyalty online. So again, the voice that the KU Foundation page uses across social media, I try to keep that very consistent. If you look back at posts, you'll notice I normally start with, hey, Golden Bears, or check this out, Golden Bears, something where I'm grabbing attention and then I'm immediately identifying them as a member of our audience. So not just with like the look of a post, but the language is important as well. And then the last part is nothing can ever be completely removed from the internet. So like I said before, once a post is online, it's there. Even if it was deleted, there are still ways to access that post online. So when posting, just keep that in mind that once something's on the internet, it's on the internet forever. Even if you can't see it, someone else on the back end can. So that's why I found this online. Think before you post. So going through, is the post true? So is the information correct? Is it helpful? Is it a meaningful engagement? Are we interacting with our audience and our peers in the most efficient way possible? Is your post inspiring? So are we activating other members of our community, getting them to engage, getting them to participate? Is your post necessary? And is your post kind? We want to keep our online community and our actual physical community, but especially our digital community, as kind as possible. It's very easy for a comment section to turn. All it could take is one misread comment or a misplaced comma to get to someone. So we just want to make sure that whatever we're putting out there is shown in the best light possible. So taking that is pretty much everything for the training. And I know we wanted to leave about 10 minutes at the end for questions. So this is perfect timing. So I will now ask people that have been moderating questions, are there any questions that any of our viewers had? Not seeing
And
any.
nothing's come in yet, Ben.
Okay.
But if anyone has questions, please take this opportunity to ask.
Absolutely. We're here to help with whatever questions people have. I know contests have been a topic in the past, or just different ways to help, different engagement opportunities. So again, if there's anything, no question's a bad question. We're always here to help. All right. So it looks like there's not any questions coming in. And I know that this is a lunch and learn. So some of you are eating right now or waiting for this to end so that you can go eat. So if we don't have any questions, we can start to wrap this up. Yes. So if you do have any questions, you can email me at best, BEST at KUF.org for any of your social media questions, any inquiries you have. If you have any questions about getting involved with the Digital Ambassador Program, I'd be more than happy to speak to people one-on-one to give them a more in-depth look into the Digital Ambassador Program and how that will be run. So again, if you have any questions, please contact me at best, BEST at KUF.org. And if you would like to access this recording or any of the PDFs that were shown or discussed, you can visit kuf.org/social-media. I think we just got a chat in. Oh, you're welcome, Amy. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you were able to take some knowledge from this presentation. And I really appreciate every single person that attended. Seriously, it means a lot. I'm happy to share this information. I'm excited to share the information. But if we don't have any questions, I don't want to eat up anyone else's time. So again, thank you every single person for attending, for your participation. And I hope that this will help and that we can help get our community more engaged. So with that, thank you guys so much. I hope you have a great day and watch out for our follow-up email for all the materials and information that we promised on our webpage. So thank you so much, everyone, and have a great day.